Guys, Elden Ring is finally here. This is a game that many people of the Souls franchise have been looking forward to ever since its announcement. People have been taking it apart. I'm sure that Vadividia has its own thing, and pretty much everybody in the gaming scene is talking about Elden Ring. This is the largest launch for the franchise, and it only makes sense. I went in thinking that we were going to have, mid to high 80s, maybe low 90s in terms of the Metacritic score, and that we were going to essentially be pleasantly surprised, but it was going to be a Souls game nonetheless through and through. And boy, was I surprised when we saw the 97 for PlayStation 5. When I finally got my hands on the game and I was finally able to play the game on my own, I fell in love. I have been thinking continuously about Elden Ring, how to get back into it, and how to continue playing this game. For those of you that do not know, I've been a fan of the Souls games since its inception in Demon's Souls, so much so that I begged my friends to play along with me, and I ended up buying a copy for Onyx because I fell in love with it and I knew that he would appreciate it. Lo and behold, he's as much of a Dark Souls and Demon's Souls and overall Souls fan as I am. He looked forward to Elden Ring as well as many of the people in our community on Discord. There are a couple of things that I've picked up as I've progressed through the game, albeit not as much as other people, but I do have some tips and tricks that I would like to offer for somebody that's beginning or starting out in Elden Ring, or maybe this is their first Souls game. Who knows? If you have any of these tips or if you have anything to add, please let us know in the comments below, guys. This is a communal effort. I think that being a part of a brand new Souls game has this magical experience where everybody's kind of just progressing and going through the game together and helping each other out. It's a super cool experience, and it's something that is unique and unlike anything in any other game that I've seen. I just think it's just awesome to go through a Souls game together, albeit in our own way. So let's get into it. TGR. As you've probably already seen, Elden Ring is absolutely massive. I think that when it comes to open world games, the only thing that is justifiably comparable is Breath of the Wild. A lot of critics have said it, and I understand it. I see it. It's there, and it only makes sense. It's absolutely massive, and it's very easy to get lost in the world. There are many times when I'm in the middle of playing, it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, all right, cool, I can play a little bit more before I have to go to sleep, because #adult. But then all of a sudden I go through something and then I look at my clock and I'm like, oh great, it's 1 a.m. And that happens more often than not. Now, I do want to say that you really should take your time in this game. I know it's very easy to hop on your horse, torrent, and just go straight to the next site of grace or wherever that site of grace is actually pointing towards. But honestly, the beauty of this game is going through, finding small dungeons, seeing bosses that are there along the way that might not be as difficult as the main shard bearers within the game, and just having a good time, just being able to be rewarded with some of the charms, weapons, ashes of war, whatever you may find as you go, to help make you just a little tiny bit stronger every single time and progress continuously over and over and over until you're strong enough to take on the next major boss within the game. That being said, if you do run into a boss that you just continuously hit over and over and you're not able to defeat, the beauty of this game, this is why it's a little bit more approachable than other Souls games. The beauty of this game is that you can literally walk away. You can walk away, go someplace else, and explore someplace else. In other Souls games, whenever you ran into a boss that you couldn't defeat, well, that boss was more than likely in your way unless you were playing something that's like a side story or a side mission, whatever it may be, in an extra area. But if this is a main boss, you're not going to progress any further until you beat said boss. So what ends up happening is you have to farm the area, do a couple of runs, acquire souls or whatever currency is there within the game, level up enough so that you can finally overcome said boss. In this instance, that's no longer the case. North, south, east, west, whatever. You can go ahead and go whichever direction you want, and you are 100% fine. You're going to be able to just have fun, collect souls, or in this case runes, and then go back and defeat the boss. Just overcome it. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. When you finally get to the round table, you are going to meet somebody named Fia. Fia will go ahead and say, hey, let me give you a hug and or embrace you, whatever it is that she says, and she will give you Baldekin's blessing. And although it sounds amazing, it sounds cool that you're getting a blessing, it actually has a slight debuff in terms of your max HP. It actually takes off around 5% of your max HP. Now, this is easily usable. You just use it and you're going to get a 35% negation of physical damage, as well as a little bit of a boost in poise. But with this, you'll be able to get that HP right back up where it is. It's not that much, but it's a little bit. And honestly, sometimes a little bit is all you need to survive a boss battle. In any single fight that you have or encounter with any enemy that is out there, whether it's a boss or just a lowly grunt that's walking on the path, you have to keep an eye on your stamina. Now, this is part of the beauty and the charm that I fell in love with all the way back in the Demon Souls days, was that you were able to essentially battle, but you had to also keep in mind and balance the stamina that you had there in between attacking as well as defending, and in some instances even running away. You had to go ahead and pay attention to everything so that you can be sure that you are not going to be wide open for an attack, and that's part of the charm on everything. Obviously, you can level up and there's certain boosts that you can get from items or consumables that will help you along the way, but pay attention to it. Keep an eye on it, because honestly, it's the difference between life or death. Keeping the topic on stamina, I also want to go ahead and add that you really should consider the equipment that you have on if you want to go ahead and avoid attacks and take advantage of those beautiful iframes that happen whenever you roll. Now, if you want to have a light, fast roll, you want to keep your equipment load under 30%. From about 30% to 70%, you're going to run into that medium roll where it's a little bit laggy, but not as quick or as nimble as the light one. After that, when you get to 71% to 100%, you're going to have a heavy load, and this is going to be a much slower roll, and it's going to be harder to actually get out of the way whenever there's attack that's coming your way. But the trade-off is that when you have heavier equipment and you have a heavier load, you're essentially a little bit more stronger. You have a higher defense. You're also going to have a better poise in terms of everything. Anything over 100%, you're over encumbered. You're not going to be able to move. It's going to be difficult for you to do anything, essentially. So it's something to take into consideration when you're playing the game. This is something to keep in mind if you're trying to do a dex build. A strength build, it's a little bit different because you are going to have that super beefy defense that you get from the armor that's there. But in terms of magic builds or pretty much anything else, like, you want to be able to roll to get out of the way and avoid damage as much as possible. Also, iframes are pretty sweet as well. For those of you that don't know what iframes are, it's invincibility frames. Whenever you do a roll, you get a little bit of that, the window where you can't get hit no matter what, which is really cool. Really, really cool. With how massive this game is, it is a blessing that FromSoftware wanted to go ahead and add a map. And the map is extremely detailed. You'll be able to kind of compare and contrast what you see through the camera as well as what you see on the map to kind of decide which points of interest you want to check out, akin to Breath of the Wild. Similar to Breath of the Wild, you are going to have to unlock specific areas as you progress through the game. Now, you can go through an entire area and defeat all of the bosses and all the enemies without any issues, and honestly go through everything without even worrying about a map fragment, but it makes life way easier. It's better to just go for it, and you'll be able to see little tombstones or whatever it may be, little pillars that symbolize where you can find a map fragment when you don't have one for a specific area. Finally, if you are new to this, or if you need a refresh for somebody that's played Souls games before in the past, I just suggest doing the tutorial. Do it, knock it out, get it over with. It'll be a nice refresher as well as a nice guide for people that haven't played this game to learn the mechanics and how to kind of like go through the game and survive. If there's something that you know that isn't in this list, a little tip or piece of advice that you would give to somebody that is starting out, please let us know in the comments below. We're all going through this together, and we all want to go ahead and progress through Elden Ring together. Obviously, guys, thank you for watching the video. Subscribe, like, all that jazz, and I will see you guys on the next one. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more and stay up to date, subscribe, hit the little bell, and join our Discord.
If you want to support the channel, please check out our Patreon or hit the join button below. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.